It's preparing live, yo. We live. Oh, it says
We live,
preparing
man.
live. It's preparing live. Let me see. Uh, yo, if I, yo, bro, I may never do a not. I ain't gonna say never, but um, there you go. We live, brother. Standpoint is appreciated. Um, let me turn off this. Let me turn off these screens. We live though. It says preparing on our end, but I just saw the what's the name, man. Um, make it public.
I'm about to eat me a chicken tender then. I ain't had lunch yet, and I've been looking at these tenders
I
down here. Like, man, I need a tender.
think we live, yo.
Are we live?
Oh, it says go live. Okay. So I got you got to push live twice. So you got like a couple seconds to eat that chicken tender, man. I
Oh,
think we live.
it say now meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So
Yo,
pardon my chicken fingers.
but we trying to figure it out, man. The people gonna be they still gonna get this work to quote Low Deluxe. What's going on, man?
You're gonna get this work.
You gonna get this work? What's going on, man?
What's up, man? I'm good, man. Nothing much. Actually, it's a snowstorm happening in Cincinnati right now.
Okay.
Um, we always get like the harshest part of winter in February, so we've been braving the snow, man. It's probably like 10 inches of snow out there. It's probably snowing right now. But yesterday was a real crazy snowstorm.
Oh, word. Yeah,
But
we had a
other than that,
snowstorm.
man,
Yeah, we had a snowstorm up here too in Jersey over the weekend, and we had it. Yeah, we had a couple snowstorms back to back. But I want to know if so when you did the live before, did you get messages and all that? Nah.
yeah, when we did the live on the other platform, I could see the messages coming in.
But before Zoom, did you see the messages?
No, I can't see the messages for Zoom right now. Like I see
Yeah.
the Zoom chat, but I don't see the messages.
Yeah, I don't see the messages either. I think we might have to I think we might have to go to live stream. Well, let's do the other way we was doing.
Okay, and I'm worried about your audio level, man. Like it's really low. Like
All right, let's stop this joint. All right.
and I got mine turned up to the max. I'm just worried that it's gonna come out. I wish I could hear it. Like
Oh, so I see that but you can't see it. So you know what? Let's keep going. You said it's low for you though?
yeah, but I'm we're gonna roll with it. Like I'm
Let's
just
roll
that's
with it.
probably something to check. Yeah. We're gonna I can hear you. I'm just worried about when other people listen to the playback. If it's I wonder how people can hear you now. Can they let you know if audio's good?
Can y'all
Can
hear
you
me
ask
now?
them?
Can y'all hear me now? Everybody good? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all put a something in the message, the chat on let me know that y'all can hear me? Like I said, it's good on my end. Like the audio, the preferences and all that is good on my end. So based on what Zoom is telling me. But let's rock though, man. Let's rock. Cause we know we got limited time on here. I got you for a limited time. What's going on, brother? How's everything going, man?
Everything's going good, man. Everything is good.
So we after we talked about the last slide, we got more structure with it, right? So I know we've been talking about mental health um behind the scenes multiple times. We had multiple conversations about it. So tell me some of the things you've been dealing with as a mental health. I mean, I guess you could do if you want to reveal personally, but as far as like how important mental health is to running a business.
Man, it's been extraordinary. So I'm actually coming up on my second year anniversary, maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna call it an anniversary, but February 14th, Valentine's Day, I had got laid off from my job. And so this is like my second year, coming up to my second year as a full-time entrepreneur. And I really last year I would say I doubled down on the whole like exercising proper mental hygiene, right? Like really, really investing into good mental habits because um, entrepreneurship, I've learned that there's a constant battle with keeping your feet on the ground and not overreacting to the highs and lows and the ebbs and flows and the swings that happen in entrepreneurship. You know, you can knock one out of the park one month and then, strike out the next month. So being able to deal with and manage those big emotional swings is something that I've had to figure out myself, and I've had to like dig deep into a lot of that. Another thing that I've also had to wrestle with is this the constant pressure of believing in yourself. If I'm
Yeah,
saying that correctly, like just having to be like the biggest believer in self. And I know that we've talked a lot about like imposter syndrome and things of that sort, and going out and unplugging yourself from a job or the system, quote, and being able to venture out on your own and trying to figure out where your next dollar is coming from. And I've had to really, really tap into like mindfulness and being present and not looking into the future or worrying about past mistakes, because I think that's where a lot of my anxiety would stem from. It's a
yeah,
real concern for what's going to happen in the future, where my next dollar going to come from, or the past mistake that I may have made, or a decision that I may have made, and there's a regret. Because mm, you'll learn if you're having a journey in entrepreneurship, or if you are an entrepreneur, you learn very quickly that your success is really dependent on decisions that you make in the business. So being confident in those decisions and being swift and haste in your decision making is critical in business building and entrepreneurship. So I've had to really center myself and practice meditation and mindfulness and being present and calming techniques, all of this stuff that I've learned a lot about myself in terms of workaholism and perfectionism, that both of those things exist in me, and it probably exists in a lot of artists. And I say artists specifically because I think entrepreneurship is artistry. So practicing good mental hygiene, trying to establish a work life balance, which is extremely difficult in a startup company. Your first year, 2 years, 3 years,
yeah,
finding that balance is difficult. So I've had to develop some real healthy habits. Meditation and journaling is probably the two big things. Is
okay,
documenting my process, documenting my thoughts, tracking my feelings, being able to understand what's driving those feelings, what are the thoughts that are being seated in my
yeah,
mind, that are dictating a feeling. Like, so being more connected with self, like all of that's at play when you're running a business, because um, the biggest challenge is you, yo. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
battling yourself in entrepreneurship. It ain't nothing else but in your mind telling you you crazy.
yeah,
How dare you think that you about to start a business? How dare you think these people gonna buy your stuff?
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
deal with those thoughts. So being able to quiet that voice inside of you and having control over that voice inside of you, I think is critical in a journey of better mental health and hygiene and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think broadly speaking, I think that's what you talk about is something that we all deal with daily. But I think it really becomes heightened when you have to when you eat what you kill. You know what I'm saying? Not to be cliche, right? Like so when you're checked and whether you literally eat and pay your bills is when it's all dependent on you and not necessarily somebody else's machine. I think those mental health issues become heightened. I think a perfect example of this, good, bad, and ugly, is Kanye West, man. Like Kanye West, like say what you want about him, but like even if his belief is in itself is from uh, a negative, not a negative space, and maybe even if his belief is in itself is a defense mechanism, it's crazy. Like you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because the stuff that he's done and said he was going to do and continue to do is really like mind blowing in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because he told everybody what he's going to do. And everybody looked
He
at him
did.
crazy. You know what I'm saying? And whether he's, quote unquote, I don't know if you could still say people crazy nowadays, but he's doing what he said he was going to do, man. And I think we see like a lot of his mental health issues play out in front of the world, but it's something that we're all dealing with, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that I also I feel kind of the same way that Kanye. I don't know. I'm not like a mental health prognosticator or anything. So I don't know to what degree he's struggling with his mental health, but it certainly appears that sometimes he is unstable. And I just know the pressure that you put on yourself to be able to rise to some of those demands that you may have. You know, if you make bold claims and bold accusations and
Uh-huh.
bold, you know, um, um, I mean, bold things that you say you do, and then being able to rise to be able to do that. That's it's difficult to do that on a public stage
Yeah.
when everybody's watching and people are at least waiting. And
Waiting
I
for you to
think
fail. Like,
naturally,
yeah,
yeah. And I was gonna
yeah,
say maybe humans that we a lot of times we're looking for bad news. It's not a
yeah,
coincidence as to why bad news travels faster than good news, and
yeah.
why bad things get more acclaim than good things. I think we're just wired that way, to check for the bad or to look at what we have the capacity to lose versus what we gain.
Where we gain. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when
Yeah,
things crash and burn, it's like
yeah, yeah,
everybody there to see it. Like,
yeah,
so that kind of pressure is you feel that pressure. You feel that pressure. You know you are being divergent when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna
yeah,
go up against Nike. I'm gonna go up against Adidas, or I'm gonna go up against, the big record labels, or I'm gonna go up against the local businesses that exist in my community.
yeah,
I'm gonna go up against them. I'm gonna become a competitor." And these people, these other companies have spent millions and millions of dollars for market share,
yeah,
and going up against them is a tall task. So, to be able to do it and to stand in it,
yeah.
I'd be proud of myself too.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I
gotta
mean?
start talking your shit, man.
Yeah, you
If you
gotta
don't talk
start.
it, nobody talking. So, like I said, Kanye is definitely good at that. But I think also is like it's funny that you say like we're wired for the negative. Like anybody that thinks that they're not, like read your comments when you post something and just see like if you're out there posting stuff that people can be critical of, and you'll scroll past all the positive stuff, like you'll read that, and the one negative joint that you get to, you be like, yo, that's crazy. Why did he say that about me? Why did he call me dummy or whatever, whatever? And it's like you have a whole bunch of positive comments before that, and that one negative joint is sticking out to you, like bang. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it's just amazing what I haven't read. I don't know all the science behind that, why humans are wired like that. Why we focus on the negative, but it is amazing to see it play out in your life, especially on social media. At least for me, when I see like a negative comment, I'm like, damn, yo, why he come at me like that?
Yeah, I still do it actually, and yeah, I got out of customer service because of it. Like in my own company, like where, where, where I was managing customer service, and it was just too personal. You know what I mean? Like it felt too personal early on, where I was already being like hypercritical of myself, and I think that I can explain a little bit of it for me, because I know it was the perfectionism that lived inside of me that already was trying to at least strive for every comment being positive, right? Like
Yeah,
everybody appreciating what I was doing, everybody liking what I was doing, trying to please like everybody at one time, and in the back of my mind believing like, oh no, it's not good enough. And what's
yeah,
crazy is I I didn't believe it was good enough, because I also believe if you're not embarrassed by what you've put out, if you're not embarrassed by what you put out, then you started too late. I think I can't remember which startup guy said that, but I'm like, man, that's a fact. Like, so
mhm,
I usually put stuff out before it's ready to go just to collect feedback, and I know it's not a finished product. I know it's not anything that I'm like, all right, this is the final
yeah.
product of it, and I expect people to be critical of it. But even in that, when they are, I'm still like,
Still
oh,
like,
how
still, how
how
dare
dare
you?
they say that? Like,
How dare you say my black is not black enough?
yeah, like what's wrong with you? Like, you
What's
know what I'm
wrong with
saying?
you?
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I've had to really work on that. So that's another one of those things in the area of mental hygiene and mental health, is one understanding that if there's anything that you do put out that's worth commenting on, understand that there are going to be negative comments. If people aren't taking the time to really voice their opinion about it in a negative way, then you probably haven't captivated enough people yet.
Yeah.
Because people will. And I know now when some people post something negative, I'm just like, oh, son, just say you can't afford it. Like, just say you want a coupon. Like,
Or
it's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Son, we'll give you a coupon.
Say
Yo,
you
it's
can't
25%
afford it.
off. I'm not trying to.
Say you jealous of it. Just say
Yeah,
you
something.
mad. You know what I'm saying? Just say you mad you ain't think of it. So just say you mad you didn't
All of
execute it.
that.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end
Exactly.
of the day, you're never gonna get 100% of the people on your time. And it's a cliche saying that goes around like if everybody is cool with you, you're probably doing something wrong. I don't know who the first person that said it, but which is true. Like you gotta um because if everybody's cool with you, one, I don't know if you're being yourself because how are you agreeing with everybody? And why does everybody agree with you, right? It's like you
Right.
don't have no thoughts that's ruffling feathers, or you changing your thoughts every time, your thoughts and opinions every time somebody else who you're in front of. Like that doesn't seem like a authentic life. Authenticity has been trending recently, the last couple years, I guess. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. But also, I guess that the flip side is that you could also listen to the positive thoughts too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause they all thoughts at the end of the day, coming in, going out. So you could choose to focus on the negative, or you could choose to focus on the positive. And I think it's something that is an ongoing battle as long as you're alive. It seems like that to me. Like
Yeah.
which voice do I listen to? You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I try not to give either. I try to, I try not to overweight either of them, internally or externally, just to say, hey, so it's funny because now I'm thinking of like just goal setting. And like when you set a goal and when you know what the path forward to get to that goal, that helps because it's just like, all right, people really don't know at what station you are in your goal or where you at
Uh,
in your process. So they don't know, right? They're commenting from whatever their perspective is, or whatever they're projecting, or whatever they've internalized,
mhm.
and they're offering that. So and I read that book, The Four Agreements,
Okay,
and
yeah, I read
one of
that.
them is like don't take things personal, don't
Don't
make
take it personal.
assumptions,
Yeah, yeah, to
right?
make
Be impeccable
assumptions.
with your word and always do your best. And I think like that, don't make assumptions, don't make it personal, is directly related to some of the feedback and commentary you get on things that you might put out, or your thoughts, your opinions. And when people speak on them, it's a lot of times we assume that they're coming from a place, they're assuming that we're coming from a place, and then it's personal, and then we want to attack back, or we want to
Hmm.
bite back. And it's like most of the time people are just really, they're projecting something that they're feeling internally,
Hmm.
or they've arrived at that thought for whatever reason. And I'm more curious on how they arrived at the thought versus the actual thought at hand, because most people don't even take the time to really understand where their thoughts derive from anyway.
Yeah,
um,
that's a fact. Yeah,
so going on that journey is much more fun than the final thought that people arrive to.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's something that people should definitely stay aware of. But it's also like I think it needs to be said that like social media is not real life. You know what I'm saying? Like people giving you clips of their thoughts and belief systems. You know what I'm saying? So and obviously we're in the social media space, right? The social media Pandora's box has been open. I don't know if there's any going back unless you just completely unplug. Um, but doing what the business that we do that we're both into, I don't know if we can avoid it. Well, you definitely can't avoid it. I don't know if I can't avoid. No one, if you're in business for yourself, you can't avoid social media. Like it's gonna, you got to play a part somehow in your business structure. I believe. I don't know what business structure that it wouldn't play a part in off top. But it's just, yeah, just like realizing that you don't know where these people are coming from. You don't even know if these things are genuine. Like last time, I think people be saying stuff for shock value on social media. Definitely on Twitter. Definitely on Twitter. Facebook, I don't know because I can see your face and all that. Facebook, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
People are definitely saying stuff for shock value. They might not even necessarily believe what they're telling you about your product or your service, but because they have a voice and they want to be provocative for lack of a better word, like they could just go hard on it. You know what I mean? That can mess up your mental space if you take that. But like you said, don't take it too personal. Like don't take nothing personal, really.
Yeah, like I've really tried to subscribe to that, and at least not from strangers, at least from people that you haven't establish any kind of rapport from, or you don't have any kind of relationship with, where hey, this person is just a person talking on a post, and the post it's got wild engagement, and they want to get a piece of the action. That's mostly what's happening is people, hey, there's a lot of comments on here. I want to get my comment on here because I want people to see. I want people to go to my page. So I'm gonna say something that's gonna incite, emotions on this post. I'm gonna be a
Right.
provocateur on this post, and so that's at play too. So
Yeah.
I've had to learn. I've had to learn that very well, and I think that speaks also to having a healthy relationship, with self, and also understanding that what you're working on and having a larger and bigger purpose and what you're working on. Like I said, you know where you're at in your journey, and whatever you're building. And so other people don't know. They're not in tune with that. They don't know, the hours that you might have put in to be able to create something, or
Yeah.
not. So again, like, yeah, you're right. Like, don't take it personal.
Definitely. All right, and switching gears a little bit because I know we try to be consistent with the time. So you started your company, it was just you, right? Well, that nah. Tell people. I don't know how much you want to reveal about the past
Hmm.
brand, the company, but tell people because we're going into the team building part, building the teams, and um, tell people how you got your start with the clothing. Whatever you want to
So
reveal about the other brand is up to you. No pressure.
yeah, so actually, man, I did this recently, man, where I went through every year of my life I'm actually doing this in real time. Like over the last week, I've done this, and we'll have to talk about this tool. It's called Rome Researcher. Well, I want to tell people about this tool. It's my second brain, but anyway, I've been really documenting every year of my life, taking notes on all the things that I could remember, just from each year, right? So I've gone back as far as 2009.
So
So I've
what
just
is it
been
called?
writing.
What is it called?
It's called Rome Research,
Rome research.
and
How you spell it? Like regular Rome? The
yeah, ROAM, and then research. So you get a trial, like a 100-day trial, and it's like $165 a year. But
okay.
it's the best piece of software I ever used in my life. So have you ever heard of
Damn.
Notion?
The best piece of software you ever used in your
The
life, son?
best software I've ever used in my life.
So ROAM research.
Yeah, it's a personal knowledge management system.
Personal knowledge management system. Okay, I'm gonna look up that soon. You held
It's
that one
dope.
out. That's the first time you telling me about that. How long you been
Oh,
using
it's
it?
dope. I've been using it since, so I started December 22nd, I think.
Okay, so I ain't that mad at you. You just
Um,
started it. Okay.
Nah, just so over time it's developed, and I'm gonna show we can do a whole live session on it because it's that powerful. Like I feel like they should hire me as a spokesman because it's my
Mm,
second brain, yo. Like it's really,
yeah.
it captures all your thoughts, and if you're a person who likes Wikipedia, or if you're a person who
Uh,
just loves history or research, and if you're a person who has a lot of tabs up open on your screen, you look at
yeah,
like,
yeah,
damn, I got 50
absolutely.
tabs open, and then you're thinking like, damn, like I can't remember what connected this. How did I go down this rabbit hole?
Uh-huh.
Rome Researcher is a tool that allows you to connect those things, like so you can
Gotcha.
backlink and create your own,
Gotcha.
internal kind of Wikipedia. So anyway, I've been documenting like all the years that I can remember of my life. So
Mm,
2009, I'm just putting, what was happening in that time. What was I working on? What was I working at? Like who was I dating? Who were my friends? Like
uh-huh.
just things. And um, I was thinking about my company now, Heritage Hill, and like how did it start? Like how did I get to this point? And I had forgotten that right before Heritage Hill, there was a company called Black Twitter Tees that I was
Mm-hmm.
working on. Like so I have a real huge fascination with Black Twitter, yo. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
like the Freedom's Journal. Like if I had to have a reference, like for what it was, how powerful it is, just what it's been able to do to bring awareness to just, um, the culture, like entertainment, politics. It's really a platform that has helped me out, has educated me, and it's given social commentary from a lot of great minds, and it just keeps me aware and abreast of all the things happening in the culture. So I'm like, all right, so what if there was like an apparel line that kind of echoed what Black Twitter represented, right? It was like the fashion of resistance. Um, and I was making all kind of stuff, right? I was making like pop culture tees. I was making like requests, and I worked my way into like the Pan African stuff and
Uh,
making my ancestor proud. And so it started with that. It started with Black Twitter tees, and I wanted to really like create something more holistic, something that wasn't using the name Black Twitter, but at least represented that kind of stuff. And the one thing that I think centered all of us around it was our heritage. It's like, all right,
Uh-huh.
yo, like heritage heal. So that's kind of how it started with me. I wanted to make T-shirts that just had like dope slogans on it, like, and I was doing custom T-shirts for people on my Facebook friends list, and then that evolved into doing stuff for high schools. That evolved into doing stuff for colleges, and here we are now, doing stuff for colleges and high schools and fraternities and sororities. So that's how I kind of jumped into it. But I did it solo for a minute, and then I did it with myself and two virtual assistants for maybe the first year and a half. And only now am I at a point now where it's okay. We got a warehouse space. We got a 2,500 square foot warehouse space. We
Uh-huh.
got a part-time person, a full-time person, some online. So now we're starting to develop our different channels. We got some inbound stuff, some outbound.
Uh-huh.
The team needs to grow. And so the most difficult thing for me in team building has been transitioning from a doer to a delegator.
Okay.
And that's a huge area of opportunity for me because I'm violence of action.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right, like get it done. And now having to take what's in my mind, the know-how and way of doing things, and now putting it out into official processes and systems so that other people can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what's going to be critical for me in growing the team is being able to take, like I said, what's out of my mind and make it
Yeah,
operational
we,
for
we
other
was
people.
talking about the standard operation procedures. We was talking about building that for you, and doing because really that's when you have a business, right? Is when you really know that you could just walk away from it and it runs on its own. Like, so I told you about the myth, right? Entrepreneur
Yeah,
myth.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
read I read I read that. I read that.
you read
The
that.
E
Okay.
Myth.
Yeah, and he says, start every treat your business like it's going to be franchised from day one. And basically, like the premise of it is just for people that listening or watching it, is that you set your business up and you put systems in place so that it can be franchised. Therefore, or thus you can walk away from it or franchise it, and it runs exactly how it's going to run in 50,000 locations, whatever. So he uses Ray Kroc and as an example, and Ray Kroc is
McDonald's, right?
yeah, McDonald's. Yep. Ray Kroc is he's not the founder of McDonald's, but he brought McDonald's, the original one, and then he franchised it, and that's why every place you go in the world, McDonald's burger is always the same because he has the standard operating procedure. He has the systems in place, and that's when you got a business when you could just you know put plug and play anybody into it, and it's running on its own. Like
So I
obviously,
got a quote
oh,
from the E Myth, yo. Like I
yeah,
got a quote that I saved. I was looking for it. It was like a system is a set of things, action, ideas, and information that interest with each other, and in so doing, alter other systems. And I had saved that because that's where I'm at now, and other systems being like the other people,
yeah.
and them being able to plug into that. So people should definitely read that book, man, about the E Myth, and
You know
I
what?
think
I'm
that
gonna
was
I'm gonna I'm gonna
probably.
do a I'm gonna do a giveaway, man. I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm gonna get that book to
Mhm.
somebody, man. I'm gonna get that book to somebody. I'm gonna do a little I'm going to do a little uh uh not raffle, but a little I'll figure it out. I'm gonna give it away to somebody though. Um for because I think that's an excellent book to read. Like, and it's fast. It's not even long.
Yeah.
It's a fast read. Yeah, it's a fast read. And I think it's one of them things that everybody should. If you're going down that entrepreneurship journey, I think it's something that you should all read because people want to talk about like, working in the business versus working on the business. You know what I mean? I think he make a distinction
Yeah.
in there, right? So it's like most of
Yeah.
us. Oh, bro, you just gonna stun on me? I see the new jacket, yeah, with the logo.
Oh, we got all kind of jackets. That you just prompted me to show another jacket. Then I was waiting for a prompt. So yeah, let me show the jackets. So this is gonna be the this gonna be the spring wave. It's like the light jacket. It's a
Yeah,
windbreaker.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And then we got
yeah.
the more heavier jackets. With the made in Africa.
Made Africa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, man. Yeah, you gonna lean back. I see you, man. He got the logo on the side and everything. You didn't show me that before.
Yeah, man, I can't let them stay on top of me, man.
So we got yo. We supposed to have something for the people, man? You didn't. I don't have it yet. I don't know if you have it.
Not yet, man. So I've been getting slaughtered for Black History Month. Actually,
Okay, that's a
it's
good thing though
been
for you
it's
though.
been it's been crazy, man. Like plus, it really happened. We were down for 3 days,
Oh,
so
because
I
of the
ran
snow.
out of embroidery paper for 3 days. I ran out of paper, man, and we didn't go in production for like 3 days. So
Okay.
I'm catching up from those 3 days, and we should be caught up by the end of the week. And then um, I got your stuff going in the run this week, so it should ship
Okay.
out.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to. I think the next time. I mean, we learned on the fly, but I think the next time I'm gonna go with live stream because I keep going back to check the make sure we haven't got any questions or anything on Facebook because you can't see the comments on Facebook, but I need to see them side by side while we talking because Facebook is definitely. It looks like it's like 5 minutes behind or something crazy.
Yeah, so why the lag is crazy, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I know we talked. You said that before we got on here, but I didn't know it was that crazy. But anyway, we gonna still push through though. So the building a team. So what are some like takeaways that you have learned as it relates to where you realize like yeah your skills and where you lack when this comes to building a team because you're
You
dumping
said when?
everything that like what are some things that people should keep in mind? Let me rephrase it when they're building the team. Like so like your strengths and weaknesses, right? Like so what have you noticed, learned about your strengths and weaknesses? That's the first part. And then what would you
Yeah,
give people, what advice would you give people when they're going about when they get to the point where they got it, they're building a team?
yeah. So I think the first thing is real critical to take an inventory of your strengths and weaknesses, to get very, very sober minded about where you're strong and what those are, and then like where your areas of opportunity are. Um, HR people always tell me don't name them weaknesses but areas of opportunities, but um, but identifying those, man, being honest with yourself about
Yeah.
what it is that you know that you're good at. So first circuit, I would take an inventory, and that might mean asking people that you've worked with before, or asking your friends and colleagues about, hey, what is it that I'm good at? What is it that
Hmm.
appears to come natural to me? And I ask people that, like, hey, and you'll see a theme that people say, hey, you're pretty good at being able to, think on your feet, right? You're pretty good
Hmm.
at problem solving. You're pretty good at being able to connect different dots. Um, I'm able to catch on. I got a real diverse set of skills and knowledge. I've had probably in my lifetime like 80 jobs, man. Like
Damn.
I'm actually a terrible employee.
Yeah, you had 80 jobs, son.
Mad jobs. Like since I started working, I was like 14. I ran at like 80 jobs, man. Just stuff, temp services, like pizza
Yeah.
delivery, like
Yeah.
manufacturing, like all kinds of stuff. But um, I took an inventory, like, all right, these kind of things appear to come easy to me, but also I'm a scatterbrain kind of person. I play in the clouds. I'm a big ideas guy, and I worry about the details later. So for me, I require a partner who is detail oriented, detail centered, who likes to be able to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, people who are compliant, people who are legal, people who just think in a way that's more process oriented. Hey, we're gonna go from A to B to C. Where I'm hey, we might go A B, and then I'm going to check out what's happening at W, and then
Yeah.
go back to Q R S. So that's just how I've learned. That's just how my mind works. So being able to have a person who provides some structure around that is
Hmm.
good for me. So I think when you're building a team, it's important to look for complementary skills,
Okay.
um, things that complement you. Not necessarily overlap. I think a lot of times, especially if you're an extrovert or you're a sales driven or sales kind of person, you look for other type A, sales driven, kind of outgoing, hyper ambitious people. and y'all all running as fast as y'all can, and then it's a hot mess on the back end, right? And the paperwork
Yeah.
is right, like everything is disorganized.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for you not to look for people who have the same skill set as yourself. But in order to do that, you got to know your skill set. Um, so that's what I've had to really, really tap into and be honest about myself and say, you know what, I'm actually not that good at that. I actually don't enjoy doing this, whatever that thing is. And for me, it's really the micro, more granular details of things. It's like, well, how are we gonna do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know yet. I just had the idea. And a person who's like, okay, well, this is the budget that it requires. This is,
Hmm.
how we're going to source that. This is how with the resources. This is so Six Sigma kind of person.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
really me.
Yeah.
So I think that I would say that is looking for complementary skills, and and um, and also I think that equally it's as important to enjoy working with the person. Like I'm not really a person who feels like, oh, because they have a certain skill set and they get the job done, I want to work with them. I like if I can't go out and like have a beer with you, then I probably won't work with you. So um,
Hmm.
I think that for me, and team building and having that company culture is something that I'm really thinking about now. Is what kind of atmosphere and culture do we want to create as a company? What kind of people do we want to attract? What kind of talent do we want to have? Are all things that I'm considering right now as well.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You hit on culture. That's a major one. And I think there's a saying that is completely terrible, and I don't know where it started from, but people say like business is never personal. It's like, nah, b it is business is always personal. Like you can never, whether you're talking about the marketing of it, whether you're talking about your customers, like you want these people to have a personal connection with your brand. Like obviously, there are situations. So on the customer end, it's always personal, right? Because you have the demographics of who you're aiming for. Um, and how are you going to reach these people? Where are they? Where will they go? Like what are they reading? What are they watching? So that's always personal, right? That's the marketing and sales is like the lifeblood of your company. But also beyond that is like when you're working with somebody, I think it's easier. It's a relationship at the end of the day, right? We don't I mean, the relationship means many things. So it's like if you're not having, I don't. That's a great point. I never thought about it, but if you're not enjoying working with the person, especially when you have a hard team, I mean, a small team, like is that person worth bringing on? You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the skill set. I never thought about that, honestly.
Yeah, I would say so. Some people, I think there's different philosophies, and I saw one person that posted on Instagram. It might have been like Marlon Wayans or somebody was on some show, and he was saying that, hey, black people, we need to get over the fact that of not wanting to work with people that we don't like. Do they get the job done? If they get the job done, if they do well, then never mind if you don't like them. And while I guess I understand the philosophy, sometimes you have someone who is a specialist and this is the only person that can do it, and you absolutely have to work with them. But I don't really subscribe to the idea of working with people who I don't particularly enjoy. I think that for me it stops at least the flow of information for me, and um, I just haven't been able to do that. And I'd love to hear like some like competing thoughts and ideas around that, because his argument was that people of in other cultures, they're able to separate their differences and work together. And while I think that's important in like coalition building, like if I got my tribe and you got your tribe and we want to be able to work together because we have to, but internally inside of my tribe, I'm not thinking that way. I'm like, nah, like we kind of at least all have the same core value system,
Yeah.
um, and ethics and morals. Like these things I think are important,
Nah, I think they
especially
are.
for my company.
And I think also I gotta think. This is what I hate. hate is a strong word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. This is what I hate about black commentary sometimes within the black with for coming from black people and coming from outside the community, as if we are not like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like as if we obviously there's difference, right? There's ethnic, there's cultural differences. That's everybody though, right? But as if like
Mhm.
we are some exception to the rule when it comes to not wanting to work with people because that we don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like
Right.
I Marlon, you know what I'm saying? Like you think every ethnic group is working with people that they don't like? You know what I'm saying? Like you think we're the only people that and that's a broad general statement anyway, but you think that we're the only people that was like, nah, we're not gonna work with somebody we don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bruh.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's just like, and we do that all the time. Like, so I see like somebody posted recently in my I saw it come up on my Twitter feed, right? It was like, I wish black people was like black people always taking a challenge. Let's do a stick together challenge or something like that. And this is like, bro, you think like you think all white people stick together? Like what magical group do you think that sticks together in a massive amount of people? Where first of all, who do you think does that and where are these people? You know what I'm saying? Like point me
Right.
to the map of where they at. So you think it's you think Republic even if you're doing like political, you think all Republicans stick together or Democrat? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how the way human beings work. And it's just like for whatever reason, society has and we always say like, black people, we strengthen white supremacy just by the way we talk sometimes, right? So it's like, it's a white supremacist in my head, like it's you're inferior. Like so you're starting from an inferior position. So you're saying like, yo, black people can't stick together. Why? It's really but only question, only answer you're gonna come up with is because they black. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like it's something about just saying that and it's always you always can push back because like, yo, where we are, the black community, however you want to define that, is a microcosm of what's going on in the world. Like obviously there's going to be cultural difference and there's going to be um your products of your environment and all that type of stuff. But for the most part, we have the same feelings that everybody else has. So it is one of them things that you know. I'm not surprised he said it, but I wish we would stop saying it, but we're not.
Yeah, and then so I be evaluating like, well, and to some degree, I'm like, all right, I get it. I'm evaluating like what his interpretation of like
Yeah,
is too, because there's some
yeah,
people who could just generally rub you the wrong way, right? Like they're
yeah,
just kind of a person who's
yeah,
maybe they have like a real dry sense of humor. They're just kind of satirical. Like maybe they just got a rain cloud over their head. Like sometimes these kind of people do weigh on me, but if they're like they do good work and they're a good person, right?
hmm
We just have some communication differences or something like that. All right, that's
yeah,
manageable. But I felt like he was going to the position of like black people are like what you're saying, like this homogenous group of people, and we just
yeah,
all supposed to be kumbaya
yeah,
without any
yeah,
differences in race, class, and gender,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
which is things that also plague us as a community as well,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
so, it would have been better. I think what he was saying is more nuanced and making those kind of sweeping generalizations. They just like I think you kind of share the same sentiment. It's just
yeah.
annoys you. Like, come on, bro. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Like I think the although Ari obviously or not, like there is a shared experience just from being in America, although that shared experience is very diverse, if that makes sense. Because depending on where you at, like your experience in the Midwest growing up is going to be different than my experience in the Northeast growing up, and you know being a black woman is going to be different than being a black man. But above that, there is some shared experience. But yeah, I just think the commentary that we often put out there ourselves, from wherever we get it from, strengthens white supremacy in my opinion. Because it's like you said,
Man,
like
that's
You know what I'm saying? So it's like your condition been conditioned. What homie said in the movie? My conditioning has been conditioned, brother. When he was talking about like the white women,
That's a fact.
yeah. So I think
That's
that's
a fact.
something.
My condition has been
Yeah.
conditioned.
So I mean, I be going yeah, I mean we could go on a tangent about that. So I think we coming up on an hour though. Let me see if there's any questions people have. I don't know how many people actually tuned in. But damn, we're not gonna be able to do it because it's not live. I mean, it's live, but it's not live. It's a delay. So we know what we gotta do the next time. We gotta figure out StreamYard. I'll figure out StreamYard on my end and get it popping like that. What oh, you got me. I hear me. That's how delayed it is.
Yeah, so I just happened to jump on Facebook just to see, like, cause I can pull it up on my phone, and I
Uh-huh.
just was curious. But yeah, it's a delay on it, but it's all good.
Yeah. So what you have any parting words until next Wednesday?
So I think the last point we was gonna touch on, I'll use it as my parting is having an exit strategy
Yeah.
for your
See I
company,
wasn't gonna
and
go in there because I didn't know how much time you had, but go ahead.
yeah, I'll do it as some parting words, and I
Yeah.
think that's important. That always when you do begin in business building, it's important to think about how you do exit out of the company, at least into the guts, the everyday actions of your company, because um, ultimately what you want to build is something that generates value and creates revenue to help support you and your family.
Hmm.
And the best way to do that, and you have to be thinking about what's the best way to do that without me doing everything and doing that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people think of exit strategies. Oh, how do I sell for $20 million at the end of the road? But I think even prior to that, it's how do I not dedicate 15 hours to it every day, which is what you'll be doing, in the first couple of years. How do I start to scale back and duplicate myself to be able to work on, other channels or other divisions or other businesses? Like, how do I develop, this as a
Hmm.
single revenue stream? And I think people get too invested um, in one channel or one line of business or one revenue stream instead of saying, all right, how do I build this? And maybe I want to make $10,000 a month, and how do I do that? Maybe it doesn't all come from this one singular business. It's this one does 2,000. I free myself up from it, and I go build something else, and that one does 2,000. I free myself up from that, and now this one goes and does 5,000, because you start to get better as you
Yeah.
get more experience as an entrepreneur. So I think always starting and saying, okay, how do I start to free myself up? How do I start to, hire for the positions that I'm doing? And in order to do that, it requires you to have a really, really, really good understanding of what you're doing and documenting that and coming up with, the systems and processes that you like to say, right? The
Yeah.
operating manual of
Uh-huh.
how to do it. So I think that's really important. And I didn't take that serious enough when I first started. And now, I'm hyper aware of that, especially
Hmm.
as things start to grow and you need to duplicate yourself.
Yeah.
So that would be at least my parting shots on just something to think about and consider.
That's some great parting words, man. I'm glad something I said stuck with you about the systems and processes and all that type of good stuff. But I think broadly, and I'm dealing with this with the law firm, right? So just to be fully transparent, like you really want to yeah, somebody loud in your background. You really you really want to you had like you said, like have multiple streams, so you're not dependent on one stream. And we talked about that. We ain't gonna reveal like the attorney client stuff we talked about, but like so if a company, you know, um just say like Ralph Lauren, like so Ralph Lauren just doesn't make clothes, you know what I'm saying? Like so he licensed his name out to make his company may actually just make the clothes, right? But he licenses his stuff, his name and his likeness to other things like, paint. You know what I'm saying? Like so when the clothing is not going right, painting might still be doing anything, you know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
wallpaper or whatever else he got, like, beach towels. And I just think, as you grow and as people should keep in mind, like, there's other avenues. You should master one, but once you kind of sort of know, like, how to make money, quote unquote. Like it's really just about building and expanding it and taking that expertise into other things that make sense within your business. So like, like I tell people like, your business may not be what you think it is right now. So for example, I gave Amazon, right? Amazon started off as an online bookseller. Like now, like how much do they even really make off books? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like that's not. I doubt like they make 10% of their money from books. You know what I mean? Like so now
Yeah,
they're
it's small. It's
yeah, they're
small.
small. If it might not even be five, it might not even be 10%. I mean, it might not even be 1%
Yeah.
of their income. So now they're into you know a web host.
AWS is probably the biggest revenue generator
AWS, I'm saying,
now.
yeah. So AWS, they're into that. They're into content. They're into you know, really, I think their biggest business is just the data. You know what I'm saying? The data
Yeah.
is like the new oil,
Yeah.
the new. That's the real crypto that y'all should be trying to figure out how to get it to. Like that's that real. Like if you can figure out how to uh use that data and manipulate that data, I mean, you could do it in good, bad, and ugly ways. But I think it's really just. I think the data and attention is really where they're probably killing. Like you said, AWS. That AWS probably is their number one thing right now. It's
Yeah, they're
probably it.
crushing on AWS, and probably because the margins, like it doesn't
Yeah,
cost a lot to run cloud services.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And
like
AWS
that
stands
whole
for Amazon Web.
warehouses.
Yeah, Amazon Web
Yeah,
Services, right? That's what it stands for.
yeah,
It just in case
yeah.
people
It's
don't
like
know.
running
Yeah,
manufacturing and warehouses is a lot of capital. It's capital
yeah,
intensive, but
yeah.
cloud services, yo, it's just the tech. All you need is a tech stack and some developers, and the scale is unlimited
This is
scale.
unlimited
You
scale, yo.
know?
So I be telling people like, yo, people be like, yo, my stuff is in the cloud. I say, if somebody your stuff is in the cloud, just means that it's on somebody else's hard drive. That's all it.
Somebody else server,
So,
right? Like
yeah, yeah, it's not.
it's
It's still
camping out.
somewhere on somebody's server. It's not
Yeah.
like you may have got rid of it, but there's no quote unquote cloud anywhere where it's just up in the sky.
That's funny, yo.
Yeah, so I'll be telling
Um,
people. But anyway, I think that's good part of words. I think this was a good one. We figure
yeah,
out the
man.
kinks. This is only our second one, so
So our second
but,
one, man.
yeah,
That's gonna get better. If you're not embarrassed by the first things that you put out, you started too late.
yeah. I tell people all the time like your first whatever, however many chances you're gonna do is gonna be trash anyway.
You
Like,
trash.
and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's hot garbage and hot trash. It just means that the more you do it, the better you just become. Like, I for whatever reason, we get, we forget that when we become adults. Like if you was a basketball player, like you wasn't just dumb nice out the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you was football player or you was an artist, you started drawing. Like I mean, obviously there's talent levels where people start off, but if you go back and look at your first free throw, your first drawing that you ever did, it was trash.
Garbage.
It
It's
was garbage.
garbage. Yeah.
It was
Always
straight garbage.
keep the beginner's mindset.
But you know what it is? And on this, I think people gotta stop. Like you say, what was you phrased it differently, but people gotta stop trying to not be embarrassed and
Yeah.
not fail. Like that's where the
Yeah.
growth is at. Is in embarrassment, is in the failures. That's where the growth is at. And I'll leave it on that. But stay on, man, because I don't want to lose you
Well,
real
man.
quick. I'm just gonna try to end this live.
All right. Cool. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Everybody that tuned in.
Everybody that tuned in and put your
And,
questions
and
in
make
the
sure
in.
y'all hit Heritage Hill and go
Oh yeah, yeah.
copy
Drop
out
your
the
stuff. Drop
sweatshirt.
your stuff. Drop your stuff.
Everything on the site right now is buy one get one half off for Black History Month. We blacked out the whole site too, so black on black for a lot of items. We got licenses with 20 different um, HBCUs. So your school might be on there. If not, we're working on it. So we're doing all black on black items. Buy one get one half off. www.heritagehill.co,
All
and
right, now
follow us on the gram.
follow him on the gram, and now I'm gonna drop. So I have my official newsletter that I have. I'm gonna stick with is sendfox.com/the Bethea TheBethea. Join my newsletter. I'm also pretty easy to find on. I guess if you following this, you got all my information. But I'm the entrepreneurship boot camp is up right now. We're just focusing on women and minorities, because I'm trying to get people to get this to get these to do more, to look beyond this PPC money and start really utilizing the SBA and getting these government contracts, these private contracts, so that that information is up. The thing is on Eventbrite, and no, it's not free. I don't think it is expensive, but you may, if it's too expensive, then it's not for you. Just to be completely honest. Um, and yeah, man, let's keep going, man. And I'll put everything down in the links, because like I said, I'm just getting used. You just sent me your bio too, so I'm just gonna have that as the, like, the placeholder. You know what I'm saying? Like, for future events, like all our links in there. All right, man. Till next time,
All right,
people.
cool.
Thanks for tuning in. All right, peace. Hello. Yeah, yeah. Let me make sure this is